Judge, how would you describe this man?
I would describe this man as an American hero, as a person willing to risk life, limb, and liberty in order to expose to the American people one of the most extraordinary violations of American principles, value judgments, and the Constitution itself in all of our history. A person so familiar with the intelligence community, as you heard from the excerpts that you just played. He's aware of the personal danger to himself. He knows of the likelihood of prosecution, but he also understands that the government listening to half the country is not what was bargained for when statutes were enacted in the days and weeks after 9/11.
Elizabeth, has there been a national debate, a sufficient national debate over this matter?
Absolutely not, because we haven't known that this is in fact the government's interpretation of these statutes, and we haven't known that it's the court's interpretation either, because it's a secret court. It rules in secret. It only has one party in front of it most of the time. That's the government. So, I mean, the president said it the other day. We need to have a public debate about potential trade-offs between our liberty and our security.
Judge, a national debate normally comes before the government does something, not after it's been doing it for years.
Correct. I mean, that's what's so upsetting about this. Everybody understood, or everybody that follows this understood, that the FISA law, written in response to the abuses in the Nixon administration, created the secret court. But it was authorized to give search warrants to listen to the conversations or monitor the communications of foreign agents in the United States. Somehow, from that era in 1979 to our post-9/11 era, that went all the way from foreign agents to anybody communicating with a foreigner, and that went to everybody with a telephone, so that if anybody calls a foreigner, we would know. So now we get every Verizon customer, 113 million of them, participating in 1 billion phone calls a day, are potential suspects in the minds of the intelligence community of the United States because they might be speaking to someone overseas. They're looking for a needle in a haystack, and they have eviscerated the privacy rights of every piece of straw in the haystack, and that doesn't trouble them. Well, guess what? The Fourth Amendment was written to prevent this very behavior, the concept of a fishing expedition or a dragnet. That's why the Fourth Amendment requires specific, articulable suspicion about a specific person before a search warrant can be given. Not a search warrant so vast that it covers more than half the country.
What about all of these leaders who have implemented this and are now standing up defending this? What's your take on them as a group and as individuals?
They are unworthy of jobs as guardians of our liberty under the Constitution.
Who is?
Whoever authorized this, whether the president authorized it, whether the attorney general authorized it, whether the judge who was appointed by President Reagan and who signed the search warrant authorized it, anybody who thinks that it is consistent with the Constitution for spies in the United States of America working for the federal government to spy on more than half the country does not understand the Constitution, does not accept our values, does not understand our history, and ought not be in office.
So what do we do about that?
We raise Cain like we are raising now. We raise hell like we are raising now. We encourage members of Congress to expose this and find out how this happened. Did Admiral Clapper lie when he was asked by Senator Wyden, Admiral, are you surveilling tens of millions of Americans and gathering information about them? Answer, no, sir. 2 months ago. Not 6 years ago, 2 months ago. That question, that answer under oath. Admiral Clapper is the Director of National Intelligence. He runs the NSA.
Elizabeth, do you agree?
Well, I don't question that the people who are implementing this program and who approved this program believed that they were acting in the best interests of the United States and that they are in fact acting to further our national security. The problem with that is that these powers are so broad, especially the way they're being interpreted and applied, that they open the door to tremendous potential for abuse. And so I'm not comforted when I hear the president say, I trust everyone who's running this program, because you know, I don't think he knows every single person who is sitting at the computer, but even if he does, those aren't the same people who will be running this program in 4 years, in 8 years, in 15 years.
Elizabeth Goitein, Judge Napolitano, thank you. A few weeks ago we said here, you know, maybe we need to have an extra bed in the bedroom there for the government minder to just sleep there and watch everything we do. Turns out they don't need a bed. They're more like drone pilots than anything else. They can just sit somewhere way away and watch everything we do. It's possible for them to know when I'm using my microwave oven, isn't it? So they know when I'm in the
General
kitchen.
Petraeus, when he ran the CIA, gave a speech that he thought was secret and somebody copied it and made it public, in which he said that new microwaves and new dishwashers have computer chips in there that the CIA can access. So they know when you're using your microwave and your dishwasher. And if they put that knowledge into an algorithm, a computer program that predicts behavior, they can predict when you're going to go in the kitchen. Do we really want a government that can do that?
No, well, we already have one that can do that. What do you think the chances are they're actually doing that already? They do know every phone call you've made, to what number and at what time of day. Every one of them. They want the access to it, they can get it. Oh, they have to go through a court to do that, don't they? They already have the information.